Eyup FretHeads. Most beginner and novice guitar players know about the 5 pentatonic box patterns, but they never really learn how to join those shapes together. So they end up stuck in one position, driving themselves nuts by playing the same little clusters of notes over and over again. What I want to show you in this lesson today is a stupidly simple visual idea I call pentatonic elevator triangles. And once you see them, it becomes much easier to move between the 5 boxes and use more of the neck without getting lost. Now this is a reshoot of lesson 72, page 78 from my Amazon best-selling 80 lesson book for those of you who have it. And if you don't have it, there are links in the video description below. Now, if you've seen my string pair lessons, then you'll know there is a problem with how the guitar is tuned. But it's not actually a problem the way I see it, because what it does is it gives us this pentatonic elevator triangle pattern that we can exploit. And the reason it works is because of the way that the G to the B strings are tuned. They're tuned to a major third. Whenever we have another string pair, like say E to A, those are tuned to a perfect fourth. The anomaly happens between the G and the B string. Once you understand how this awkward, wonky string pair works, then the whole of the guitar neck is going to make a whole lot of sense. Now, I said there are 5 pentatonic box patterns, and we're going to play these box patterns in the key of A minor, because this is where everybody tends to learn their pentatonics in the first place. So what we'll do is we'll look at the first box pattern. This is the one that we all know and love. I'm starting on this A note here. This is the root note of that pattern. So this pattern here, this is your first box pattern. And if you know this one already, this is probably the one that you are driving yourself potty with just by playing it up and down like this. But what I want to do is show you the first pentatonic elevator triangle. And it goes like this. We're going to have this B string and G string. So what happens is we get 1 note on the G string, and then we get 2 notes on the B string from that pattern. We're dropping this other note here at the 5th fret, the lower note of that box pattern. We want the upper note on the G string. And if you look at that, you can see that is painting out the shape of a triangle. And that's our first elevator triangle. Now, the cool thing about box 1, and I call this the Chuck Berry zone, because this is where you get all your Chuck Berry riffs and licks. So there's lots of familiar stuff in there that you already probably know or you're already learning. So I'll play it as the pentatonic box 1 pattern. And I'm just going to pause on the triangle. And I'm just playing those 3 notes. But I just want to show you that this one ties into your licks that you already know. So this can be part of an escape route that you might need to move from a lick and then land on this triangle, visualize it, and we're going to use that to move to the next box pattern. The way I think about these is they fit together like blocks of Lego or Tetris. This triangle is different from the next triangle that I want. This is in box 2. And there's my second one. So this triangle here is smaller. So this is what I call my small triangle. This is my big triangle. Now you can see what I did there is I moved into this position here. Now what I need to do is just show you the rest of this box pattern here. So here's box 2. So that gives me another box pattern I could go at. But what I want to do is I want to find the triangle in it. And that one is the small triangle. I'm just going to slide down my first finger to get into the big triangle. So in this pattern here, if we extend it by playing the same frets that we play on the B string, notice again, 1 note on the G string, 2 notes on the B string. If we move that onto the thin E string in the same fret, you can see this is called the House of Blues. This is Albert King's box. But the main thing that I want you to see is how these triangles dovetail into each other. So what we do essentially is we move from the Chuck Berry zone into the Albert King box. And if you want to think of it, you could think, well, that's the root, that's going to be the flat 7th. But really, you can think of the notes and the intervals later. What I want you to do right now is just see the shape and what it lets you do. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, so far, so good. This is a cool idea. And we've got one triangle here, a big triangle, moving into the small triangle. And you're thinking to yourself, well, what other triangles could there possibly be? Well, here's the cool thing. This big triangle, followed by this little triangle, is followed by a big triangle and a little triangle again. So these guys do exactly the same thing. I get a big triangle, and then I get a little triangle. So what you can see is this big triangle is part of box 1. This little triangle is part of box 2. Move it up to box 3. We get a big triangle. Then move it up to box 4. And we get a little triangle again. So that pattern of big triangle, little triangle repeats itself, and we get big triangle, little triangle, big triangle, little triangle. So just coming back to this big triangle in box 3, you can see that I can use that to extend into the rest of the pattern as well. And then what happens, like I say, this little triangle here takes us into box 4. Now the thing to remember is now we're up the dusty end of the neck. We are over the octave marker here on the double dots. So this is essentially the same as fret 1. This is the same as the head note, fret 1, fret 2, fret 3. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that idea and know that I can transfer it down here. And there's an octave apart there for the same idea. So here's the little triangle and where it lives in box 4. So there you go. Then we've got the big triangle just below it from box 3. Then we've got the little triangle from box 2. And then we can go back to home base, which is box 1. Now, because there are 5 boxes, we've got one more box left. So we get a different shaped triangle. And this is, I'm going to call it a right angle triangle because of the way it goes. It looks like this. And this is a little bit different technique-wise because 2 of the notes are on the same fret. So what I like to do is I like to hold the B string notes with my first finger and roll either my first or my second finger across that B to the G string. And then what happens is that gives me a great little spot then. If I slide up that whole step, I'm back into box 1 because this is a repeat, guys. That's the same as playing in this position here. It's just an octave higher. So now we have 5 triangles that we can link together. There's a little triangle like I had here. Those are the same ones there, but I'm moving into my right angled triangle here. Now you can see I have got the full neck to go at there, and all I'm doing is replicating those 5 elevator triangles. Now what I would do is I would create a drill around this just so that you can move easily through these patterns. The first thing is to remember the sequence of these elevator triangles and then break them down into 2 triangles at a time. So we might look at playing box 1 big triangle here and moving it up into box 2. And if we do that like this, It's going to help you with your targeting and your hand-to-eye coordination. And if you sit and do that for a minute, it'll fall under your fingers very quickly. And then what I can do is I can do the elevator triangle at the other side of the box 1 one. So I'm going down into the box 5 pattern here. Then what I can do is I think to myself, well, I've put 2 together here, I've put 2 together here. This is chunking, classic chunking, and then put them together. Start in box 1, go up to box 2, back to box 1, back to box 5 there. So we can put them all together in that way. And we want to keep on doing that. Let's look at box 2. I join that up into box 3. Because I've already practiced that one, I can link that up. Now I have box 1, box 2, and box 3 that I can link up together. Big triangle, little triangle, big triangle again, because I know that big triangle is followed by a little triangle. I'm going to practice these. And the thing is, although this is a big triangle going into a little triangle that we've already done down here, the frets are narrower, so we need to get used to how that feels. Now, next one I want to do is, let's look at this. This is going to be from box 4 into box 5. So I could do that for a whole minute, devise these drills. Now that drill was using the triangles that are next to each other, but what we can also do is we can pick on the shapes that we might want to put together that are a bit wider. This is a big triangle to a big triangle. Now what if I want to take this big triangle here down to the right hand triangle here? You can see that's a much bigger distance, and you need to practice these things because this is one of the most surefire ways of you being able to break out of those boxes. This stops you, the guitar player, from getting trapped in one little area and gives you a route through all the scales. Now, one of the other ways we can expand this idea is if I take this big rectangle here, and I think that box 1 and box 4 are complementary to each other. They give you a good wide range of sounds. What we can do is we can look at the pentatonic elevator triangle in box 1 and then move up to the pentatonic elevator triangle in box 4. But we're not going to stop there. Once we've done this, what we're going to do is we're going to add the rest of the box pattern, and this is the thing that makes it more interesting. So I'm going to run up the box 1 pattern, I'm going to branch off into the box 4, and I'm going to come down it, and then I'm going to go back to box 1. Now what we want to do really, we've done this in A minor. And what we can do is we use box 1 as the foundation for that key. And once you can find box 1, you can place this idea in the right spot straight away. So say, for example, we wanted to apply it to E minor. Now I know that box 1 is going to live here at the 12th fret or the open position. If I want the open position, I'm going to go 2 notes on the B string. I know this is going to be my big triangle. Moving up into box 2, my House of Blues is going to live here. Then I know box 3 goes here. And there's the big triangle for that. Then we move into box 4. And we get the little triangle for that one. And then what happens is we get into the right angle triangle. That brings us to the 12th fret, which is the same as the open here, which is where box 1 lives. And if that's where box 1 lives, that's where the big triangle is. Move up to the little triangle, box 2, box 3, all the way till you run out of frets. And one of the reasons you want to be able to move up and down the neck is because this gives you more access to the different voices that the guitar has in the different positions. Because remember, those box patterns will have you running up and down one box over and over again till the cows come home. So this is a great tool to help you to stop your solos from sounding stuck. If this lesson helped you move between the 5 pentatonic boxes, then the next thing you need to see is how to make sense of those 5 boxes more efficiently in the first place. Because I know for a lot of guitar players, that bit is the bit that still feels very messy. And in this next lesson here, I break that whole thing down into a simple 3s and 2s pattern method so that the fretboard starts to look a lot clearer and manageable. So if you want pentatonics to really click, then watch that next.